Today I want to teach you how to scale Facebook ads and break past spend ceilings by understanding the concept of time lag. So this is something I was talking to John Moran today about on Tier 11's live stream, and he went into detail about how you use this, but I want to give you a high level simplified version of it, especially for people who run more meta ads where it could probably get kind of confusing because you're not used to going in and looking at Google, but it's completely relevant to you. And this is something that John Moran brought to me, taught me at the start of last year, and it's completely changed how I look at scaling on Meta based on how it affects the overall funnel, the overall business, and using these time lag windows. Okay, so what is time lag? First of all, well, time lag is basically you understanding. In fact, let's look at this. Time lag is basically you understanding how your funnel works. So this is the most simple version of a funnel, and typically what's happening in a lot of places. Obviously, they're way more complicated than this. There's way more touch points, but essentially top of funnel, someone sees your product on Meta ads. They didn't know about, they didn't know they needed. Maybe it's a problem solution video. They're then going to either click on that, or they're going to go and view through, go into Google and search for that product or search for your brand. Okay, so they're gonna come and Google, take a look at other competitors, do a bit of research, and then eventually they're gonna come back and they're gonna purchase on Shopify. Okay, now that process of Meta to Google to purchase is going to vary for every business, for every product, depending on how much consideration is involved. So what you can do on Google Ads, which we can use in Meta, is we can see the time window from that first impression of the people viewing this and coming and searching on Google, that first impression where the ad is served, to that final conversion. What is the average time span that takes, okay? And it's not the first time the person's clicking, it's the first time it's an impression. So if someone searches for your products rather than your brand, and everyone's shopping campaigns come up, including your competitors, we still get to see that identified impression. And then later when they end up converting on your one, we can see the conversion, okay? And we can measure that time lag window. Because what typically happens with Meta media buyers when they're scaling is they're going to look at things every 3 days. This is what the gurus are preaching over in here on YouTube. And it's something that I didn't do in the past, even before John taught me this. I would look at week over week. But 3-day reviewing is the worst situation. Week over week, slightly better. It's definitely a lot better. But if you have a 2-week time lag, it's irrelevant. Okay, so I'm going to show you in a minute how to get time lag. But I just want to show you what is this scaling dilemma that you have. So typically what happens in Meta is people scale after every 3 days. They either increase the budget 20%, they hold it, or they scale back. That's what people are teaching you to do. So let's say you scale up Meta, review it after 3 days. You've hit your target, so you scale up again. Oh, what usually happens? You've now blown up past your NCAC target, okay? Or NMR, whatever you're looking at, okay? So you have to scale back down, and then maybe you scale up again, and maybe it's a bit closer to the target, but it's not quite there, so you hold, and then sure enough it recovers, so you scale up, but then you have to scale back down, and maybe you have to scale back down again because it's bad again after 3 days, but then it's good again, so you scale up, maybe you hold, maybe you scale up, maybe you scale up again, we're back down, hold, scale up, hold, down, up, up. That's typically what's going to be happening when you are scaling Meta ads. That's not an unusual scenario, okay? So we've had quite a lot of scale in this period. That might be a period where performance is just generally better. And I feel where this comes from is dropshipping, this 3-day window of reviewing things. Because a lot of the Facebook ads info online came from the dropshipping world, okay, back in the day. And dropshipping products, how do they work? Well, they're products that they don't have a long conversion cycle. There's not much consideration. It's some cool viral product you see, and you go and buy. So that's a very short time frame. And what happens is when that product is hot, you can just keep scaling up and up and up and up. You might need to hold a little bit now and again based on, just periods of Might be intra-month. Maybe the end of the month people buy more and then they're not getting paid. So in the middle of the month, just there's a lower conversion rate, and then you see the benefit of that there in the month. That's nothing to do with you actually doing the scaling. It's just purely the nature of the market, okay? But we don't want to scale that way. The way we want to scale is something like this, and this is how I scale with the big brands that I work with. There is none of this going back. We are always scaling up the way, and after a long enough time period, you're going to see a positive benefit to that, because on a multi-7-figure brand, on an 8-figure brand, on a 9-figure brand, when you increase the budget 20%, that is a massive increase in spend. That's a massive increase in cold traffic, because you can't just bring in more warm people. You have to go to cold when you're at that level. And that conversion window, that customer journey, that time lag is inevitably going to be longer than when you're playing in a pool of very warm people at small scale. So what we'll typically see is something like this. So you've seen we scale up twice here. Well, we maybe scale up like this. First week, NCAC comes off the target, we hold. Oh, we're back on target because we're in the time lag. We scale up again. Oh, we're not on target, we hold. We scale up again. And because it's this time where this just had a good market condition, we also get the benefit. We get to scale up again. Oh, NCAC's dropped off, so we hold. Then we scale up again. Then we hold. Then we scale up again. And you can see by scaling that way, by just waiting, we have gained this lead in 10 weeks. And then what happens over a year is that lead is far greater. Over several years, you scale the business way better this way, okay? And I'm going to show you an actual example of this in play, and then I'll show you how you actually get your time lag for your brand, okay? So here's an example. You can see this week here, we'd scaled up spend at 10% from the previous week, and $93 is our target. Okay, that's our NCAC target, $93. So we're bang on target. So what I've done is I've gone, well, we're bang on target after scaling up, but we've come up 12%. Let's just hold this next week and see what happens. Okay, so what happens is the NCAC comes down $1. Okay, we've held, it's not come down much further, but it's pretty stable. Let's scale up again this next week. So we scale up. We increase the budgets on Meta by 10%. You can see here, okay, 70%, 10%, that's just algorithm, not spending the full. And we pulled back on Microsoft by pausing some campaigns. So what that has resulted in is a 10% overall increase in spend, but it was 20% in Meta. So it's bringing 20% spend of cold traffic basically, right? So you can see the NCAC is blown out. The NCAC comes up 12%. to $104 by having that budget increase. So what would you traditionally do as a Meta media buyer if you increased your budget 20% and it blew up the business after a week? You would scale back 20% to hopefully spend less, because the client doesn't want to be paying 12% over the target with 10% more spend when they're spending 25K a week, okay? But that's not what we do, because we know time lag window for this brand, and this brand it's about 13 days. So that means after the first week we only have half the data, half the people have converted. So we wait another week and boom, the NCAC has come down 8% now. I didn't spend anymore, I didn't pull back. It's just naturally come down by that conversion window that I know is 13 days, okay? So I can't make decisions in 3 days. I can't make decisions in a week, because I have a 2-week conversion window. So I've only got half my data if I make a decision, if I review the performance after a week. If the performance is on target after a week though, I'm still fine to scale, because I'm still bringing new people in, and those new people who were in the week before are still converting, but I'm still within target. So I could have scaled 40% the first week. And maybe then had this situation. So that's what happens, $95. The week after, we don't scale again. And maybe a little bit scale, but hang on, let me just check. yeah, 5% scale, probably just launched a new campaign or something. And you can see that the NCAC comes down even further by a significant amount. But there's a bit of an anomaly in this week because a new creative was launched. That was a new winner basically. But yeah, the concept of time lag can be played out here. You just need to pause sometimes and your NCAC is going to come down. So how do you find your time lag? Well, you're going to come into Google Ads. Even if you're not running the Google Ads, if someone else is running it, you can still do this. And you're going to look for the cost per conversion column, the conversion value over cost column. I think even conversions as well has it. And any campaigns that have certain bidding strategies, I know Target ROAS is one. I don't really know the rest. Ask ChatGPT and it'll be able to tell you. But you can ask what ones it'll tell you on. Anyone that has one of the bidding strategies that allow this to pop up, in that conversion related column, if you come and hover over the value that's in the column, you'll see this window pop up for each campaign, okay? And you'll see the second paragraph at the top. It says it takes up to 11 days after an impression for most of your conversion data to be reported. So what that is saying is when there's an impression, when someone views something on Meta, YouTube, wherever, or they hear about it from a friend and they go and search that product, that brand that my ad shows, they don't necessarily click on that ad, but the ad has been shown, it's been triggered by whatever keyword they've looked for. A clock starts ticking, and that time to the end conversion on average is 11 days for the majority of my people in my funnel take 11 days to go through that process, okay? So there's a day or two before that when they actually see the ad on Meta. So you can take it as like 12, 13 days. If you look down, there's like today in 7 days and 24 days. Actually, 100% of the people have converted after 24 days. So although the majority convert after 11 days, people that I brought in on day one are still converting 24 days later, okay? This is the power of time lag. Things don't happen instantaneously. So if I made a change on day one on Meta, I might not see the results of that until 24 days time. So how could I make a decision to pull back spend or increase spend 3 days later, okay? And you can do this for every campaign type that you've got. You can see this one is 10 days. This one is 13 days. So as a meta media buyer, in simplified terms, what John was showing on the tier 11 live stream, what you can go and look at, is he's talking about each stage of the funnel, top, middle, bottom, learning your time lag for each phase, learning what campaigns are there, and then adjusting those campaigns accordingly based on their own time lags, and then looking at the result of that based on the time lag for that specific campaign, wherever it is, okay? That's probably quite complicated for you. That's the more advanced stage. I would assume most of you aren't at that level, and you're probably running e-commerce stores where it's heavy meta and then there's the Google plugged in, like this store. You know, this store did, I don't know, like $1.5 million last month, but we're spending 5% of our budget on Google. It's meta driven, and that goes to Amazon and that goes to Google as well, okay? Sorry, Shopify as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Looking at time lag, come in and get yours. And what I want to say with this is take the longest one. So you can see here the brand campaign's 13 days. This one was 10. For you guys to make it simple, take the longest window and that's your safety net. So like, yes, shopping campaign wise, I'd be safe after 11 days. But to keep you on track, if you've scaled up in week 1, 7 days later, you've not hit your NCAC target with a brand like this where it says 13 days, you know, well, I need to wait another week and then I can make a proper decision. So if you're working with clients, just educate them on this. Tell them this is what's happening. You can show them this video and you can say, hey, let's not pull back. Let's just see what happens. Try this out. If you wait a week with a time lag of 13 days, does it change? But you need to go look at this for your own brand because this is going to be unique to your own conversion window, the consideration of your product. And actually one more thing I want to show you. I want to show this played out in real life. So you can see here, was it the 12th? Yeah, the 12th of August to the 18th of August was that week we're looking at where we scaled up. Yeah, so 12th of August to 18th of August was the week we scaled up and the NCAC blew up. we'll look here. So in Shopify, you can see the total sales are down, the new customer sales down 20%. So imagine you scaled up 20% in Meta, and that week your client got 20% less sales and 20% less new customer revenue. If you didn't know about time lag, they're going to be like, yeah, well, you spent more and we made less, pull back the spend. But now that you know time lag, you're going to go, well, hang on, we scaled up 20%, because there's another thing you can check. You know, you can scale up with time lag and actually not get a benefit because you got worse performance on Meta and you've not actually brought in new people. But here I can see I scaled up 20% on Meta, and the campaign I scaled up, the landing page that goes to, got 68% more impressions. So for a 20% increase in spend, I got 68% more people hitting my landing page, okay? Or more, more sessions. It might be the same people going out multiple times. So what's going to happen is those people that have come in on Meta, looked at that landing page, now we're going to go through that 13-day Google warming up phase till they eventually convert. So that means if we look the next week, that should all convert. 20% increase in revenue now, and 10% new customers. And that's not as extreme anymore because we held the budget, but it's still going up, okay? If you look again, the next week, it's going to come up even further, 26th to the 1st. Now it's up 69%, but like I said, you have the anomaly of the creative. But you can see if we look back, if we look at this week and we compare it to that very first week where we started, which would have been the 5th to 11th, in that space of like 2 or 3 weeks, their revenue is up 45% and their new customer revenue is up 67%. They've got 105% increase in new customers in 3 weeks, okay? This stuff is super good. And in the past, what would have been happening is we would have just been messing around doing this back and forth, trying to chase our tails and just show good performance. We wouldn't actually be scaling the brand like you can see in this scenario. So if you enjoyed this, let me know. If anything doesn't make sense, ask a question. I can delve into any of the aspects of this in more detail. But yeah, go look for your time lag, start using this, start scaling this way, and just get the amazing results of never having to scale back down, just constantly growing your brand and making lots of revenue.